So I had a mimic encounter this morning, which is the reason why I'm telling the story outside and not in there. So this morning at about 4 a.m., my husband was getting ready to leave for work. Typically, right before he leaves, he'll go into the bedroom, he'll give me a hug, he'll give me a kiss, and that's my way of knowing that he's leaving. I heard when he disarmed the alarm, when he got in his car, he has a really loud truck. I heard when he turned it on, and I heard when he drove off. At about 6 a.m., I see him walking back into the bedroom. My first thought was that he must have forgotten something. He does work about an hour away, so I figured he probably got all the way to work and realized he forgot something and had to drive all the way back. I see when he walks into the bedroom, and right next to where I'm laying down, like there's like a side table, we had a bag with like a bunch of snacks, protein bars, etc. He goes over there, he starts going through the bag, but he's being like extremely loud about it, like just fumbling, and I hear all the crickling of all the wrappers and stuff. So I kind of look in his direction and say, just take the whole bag, like just take the whole bag with you. He then turns around, walks over to me, gets this close to my face. Mind you, the room is still pretty dark. He gets this close to my face, kisses me, gives me like a really tight hug, and as he's like moving away, he just disappears. Like in a flicker, like a flash, he's just gone. I'm there kind of looking around like, what just happened? Like he was literally just here. And I look down and I see the bag of snacks that were on the table are now on my lap. So I didn't dream it. I didn't imagine it. Like something literally moved that object from that table to me, came to me, and then disappeared. Needless to say, I will be cleansing the house. And I did go back to sleep after that because I don't let things like that really like bother me. I did pray and pretty much let it know that it wasn't welcome there. But this thing was 100% a mimic.
Do something with it.
It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming in repeatedly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and all day. Money coming in all paid. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in.
Shout out to all of those TikTok videos that talk about if you're walking in the woods in Appalachia and you hear something or you see something, no you didn't, because I think that just saved my life last night. Story time. Excuse the garage. I'm at my parents' place, and this is the only place my dog is allowed, who plays a crucial role in this story, by the way. He's a very, very good boy, and last night proved it. So, my parents don't live in Appalachia, but they do live in an area that's a little more secluded. It's still a suburb, but it's pressed up against these hills with lots of untouched wilderness, and coyotes are running through there all the time. It's just a little bit more rural. So I'm sitting in their backyard, which has this tall fence all the way around it, and the wilderness comes right up to that fence. I'm sitting there around the campfire. My dog is laying beside me. I got my laptop open and I'm writing my little stories. Suddenly, my dog lifts his head, stares straight ahead at the fire, doesn't even like look around at the yard, stares straight ahead at the fire and starts to growl. All dog owners know that your dog has different types of barks and growls. This was his warning growl. This is the growl he does when there is danger coming and he's telling it to back away. So immediately I'm like, buddy, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And then I hear a voice at the fence line. And it's not just any voice. It's the voice of a little girl. And it sounds like a creepy doll from a horror movie. It's got that kind of like mechanical quality to it. And it's kind of like muffled and garbled. I'm still getting the heebie-jeebies. And all it does is go, hello? Just like that. Just like that. Hi, just same tone and everything. Now, mind you, it's midnight. There are not going to be any little girls wandering the woods at midnight. So immediately, I was like, well, this is either someone who's gonna me, or it's something else. And what made me think it was something else was the fact that the voice said again, hello? Only this time it had moved, and it had gotten closer, and I'd heard no footsteps. It was just floating closer. And then, mind you, my dog is still growling this entire time. For the next 5 minutes, that voice is just circling the fence line, going, hello, hi, hello, hey. Like, just like that creepy doll voice floating around the fence line. And then suddenly my dog stopped growling, and he put his head down and he went back to sleep, and the voice stopped. And I thought, okay, cool. That was weird. And then all of a sudden he lifted his head back up again and started growling. And then the sound of a ticking clock came from the bush directly across from me. Again, heard no footsteps, heard no rustling. Just a ticking clock started in the middle of the night, in the middle of the woods. So don't know what that was. But if anyone wants to hop in the comments and let me know, that'd be great. Because I can't wait to go home today. And I don't see myself coming back here anytime soon. And a big shout out to my protector. Yes, big scary boy.
So my trauma must have blocked this out, but I had an encounter with the Mimic, and I'm just now remembering this. So this happened back in my old house, and if you remember from my older story time videos, that house was haunted. I vividly remember this happening back in 6th grade, like a few days before my band concert, because my clarinet plays a big part in this story. And y'all, I went to school the next day like nothing ever happened. So picture this, it's winter, it's cold, I'm already aggravated because not only did I chip my last clarinet reed earlier that day, but now I have to walk home in this horrible weather. And y'all, I despise the cold. Having to walk home every day as the wind is piercing your skin, oh, I hate winter. Anyways, here I am, little 6th grade me, holding my clarinet case and entering the street in my neighborhood, shivering my life away. So keep in mind, I'm home alone at this point. My older brother had practice at his high school. My little brother was at daycare, my dad was at work, and my mom was at the store running errands and also getting my clarinet reeds. So I remember opening the door of my house, and you know when you can feel like an energy shift? Well, I felt something like that. Like the air, the energy, it was just very heavy. But honestly, I wasn't really minding that because my mind was focusing on warming up. So I immediately run to my room, close my door, and I get comfortable. I remember grabbing my laptop and turning on my game, even though in my household we are not allowed to play video games on a weekday, but because no one was home, like, it really didn't matter. Anyways, fast forward, I'm chilling on my bunk bed, and all of a sudden, I hear something drop from outside of my room. So I immediately think that it's my older brother coming back home from practice, and I continue doing what I was doing. About 3 seconds later of not acknowledging this noise, I hear something else drop, and I decided to yell, "What are you doing?" Because keep in mind, if my older brother was in there dropping or breaking stuff, I'm not about to get the blame for it. Now, tell me why I hear a woman's voice go, "Making food." So I remember in that moment, I kind of froze for a bit, and you know when your heart starts beating uncontrollably and it feels like it's literally like popping out of your chest? That's what it felt like. So I'm sitting on my bed and I'm wondering to myself, why am I feeling this way? Because it was obviously a woman speaking, which means that it was my mom. Why is my body acting like I'm in danger? So I remember getting up, climbing down from the top of my bunk bed and walking to my door. Now keep in mind, this whole entire time, I did not open my door. So the door's closed and I remember yelling, "What are you cooking?" So my mom could hear because I was curious, and plus my mom, she never usually cooks this early in the afternoon unless she's cooking like a big meal. So I wanted to know what she was cooking. So I remember the voice, or my mom, didn't say anything for like a while, and then all of a sudden blurts out, "I'm cooking spaghetti." Cooking spaghetti at like 4 p.m. in the afternoon? That doesn't seem right. So at this point, I was kind of weirded out because, like I said, my mom doesn't usually cook this early, and the tone of her voice was very weird. Like, the voice of my mom was like freaky. It was very monotoned. I don't know. It was just like, it wasn't like, it didn't sound real. So I remember saying one last thing, and this is where things got insane. So I ended up yelling, "I don't smell anything." And tell me why literally 3 seconds later, the voice I once heard from afar is now right at my door. So I remember it laughed and it said, "Open your door and you'll be able to smell it." Y'all, I have never locked my bedroom door so fast. So after I locked it, I remember hearing breathing, like heavy breathing, and this alarmed me because, like, what are you doing? My mom never acts like this. So y'all, I remember I walked over to my window, opened the blinds, and looked to my right, only to see that my mom's car was not parked in the driveway. So at this point, I'm looking at the empty driveway and I'm frozen because who's in the house right now? Like, I literally remember locking my door, and there's absolutely no way that it could have been my brother, because let's just say he was trying to play a prank and speak in a woman's voice to act like my mom. I can easily tell that because his voice is very deep and he's done voice impressions like that before, so I'm able to tell. So I'm just thinking to myself like, okay, is there an intruder? What's going on? My first instinct is to go up on my bed, grab my phone, and immediately call my mom, and that's exactly what I did. So I don't know if maybe this thing or person knew that I was calling my mom, but tell me why, as I'm dialing, I started hearing my doorknob like moving, like it was jingling as if like they were gonna open it, but because I locked it, they could not open it. So I immediately hop off my bed, I run to my door, and I grab the knob so that, you know, it's not turning anymore. My mom, she finally picks up. So she answers the call, yelling at me, telling me how she's almost home, and I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, that's the mom that I know. Not this, like, weird, calm, monotoned voice that I'm hearing. So I confirm out loud that she's on her way, so I go, "So you're on your way home?" And like I hang up just to indicate to this person or thing that I know that they're not who I think that they are. Now this is where things got even more crazier, because as soon as I hung up that phone, my door, whatever was behind it, starts immediately banging on it. So my heart drops to my stomach and I start screaming. The voice keeps yelling, open the door, and I'm still screaming in fear. I remember at one point the banging stopped and the voice started crying. I remember it was a soft cry and it was pleading to me. It was pleading that I open the door because it wanted to see me. And I don't know if it had me like under a spell or something, but something in me was telling me to like open the door. Like I had that urge to open the door, but thank goodness I did not. Like I knew that I shouldn't and I didn't. So about 5 minutes of just hearing these crying, more banging on the door, I finally hear my mom's car beep outside. Suddenly the crying, knocking, and doorknob moving stopped. So in walks my mom and my brother because she ended up picking my brother up from practice. And I remember her yelling, "Jordan, open the door, I have your stuff." So I remember I wasn't too sure about opening the door because what if that thing was still there and it was just like altering my reality? Anyways, my mom did end up grabbing her keys. She opened my door and she instantly started yelling at me. She was like, "I don't know why you have the doors closed. You know not to have your door closed, this, that, yada, yada, yada." At this point, I was relieved, like getting yelled at by my mom. I was like, at least you're actually the real person. But y'all, I haven't told anyone about this. Like literally after it happened, it like disappeared from my brain. Like the trauma said, you're not gonna remember this, but I truly believe I encountered the mimic, and I'm just so thankful I did not open up that door because whew, I would not be here right now.
So I have another mimic story time. For those of you who may not know, a mimic is essentially a D word that can take the form of any person. And it doesn't necessarily always mean that it's a D word. It could be something else, which we'll talk about at the end of the video. So when Allie was about 12 years old, she had this doppelganger ghost that looked exactly like her. It first started when her friend and her friend's mom were driving down the road. Allie lives on a reservation. It was misting and very foggy out. When Allie's friend saw her, she urged her mom to stop and give Allie a ride. When they pulled over, Allie's friend got out and asked her if she wanted to ride home. Allie just kept standing there shaking her head and saying no. They couldn't physically force her in the car, so they just got back in the car and left without her. After they left, Allie gets a text from her friend asking her why she didn't get in the car. Allie was confused when she received the message and asked what her friend was talking about. Then her friend explained to her what happened. Her friend said that she was 100% sure that it was Allie, and they were confused as to why she didn't want to get in the car. Allie then explained that she had actually been home the whole time and never left. Another time, Allie and her two friends, we'll call them Anna and Sammy, were hanging out in Sammy's room. Sammy's room has a balcony, and there's no other way of getting on the balcony unless you walk through the room and past the sliding glass doors. While Sammy and Anna are in the room talking, they look over at the sliding glass doors and see what looks like Allie standing there just staring right at them. They both screamed and ran out of the room. Even hours later, they were both too afraid to go back into the room because they could not explain how they saw Allie on the balcony. Now, this is the scariest encounter of them all. This actually happened to Allie's mother. Allie and her family live right next to her stepdad's sister. The house is located on a long dirt road, and at the end of that road is a cemetery. This has never scared Allie because it's a family cemetery, so it's always been peaceful. So on this night, Allie's mom is going down that dirt road when she sees Allie in the cemetery. Mind you, this whole time she thought that Allie was at the stepsister's house. So she stops night, I hear a cat meow, whatever, but my husband goes completely pale.
Quite a few years ago, me and my sons moved into a flat with our cat Eddie. So for the first 2 weeks, Eddie was struggling to get used to his new surroundings and would pace up and down the long hallway. One particular night, he decided it'd be a good idea to sing the song of his people. So I leaped out of bed, went into the hallway, you know, of fear that my youngest would start screaming, because that's what he'd often do if he was awake at night. And yeah, we wanted to avoid that at all costs. So I was like, Eddie, come here. And he was having none of it. So I thought, right, I'm going to switch up my game. I went into the kitchen and got a treat. And I was at the end of the hallway. And my plan was to put him in the living room. So I'm like, Eddie, come here. No, he still wasn't having any of it. So I took a deep breath. And I thought, right, I need to change my tone here. So I said, Eddie, come and get your treat. And he stopped dead. And he stared. And this all happened in the space of a second. And a voice, that was my voice, repeated back to me what I'd just said. Like, here. And I froze. And then I ran for my fucking life, ran into my bedroom, shut the door and sat on the floor in the dark. When I tell you the shit fell out my arse, yeah. My heart was in my throat and my whole body just wanted to get out of that flat. And it dawned on me, it doesn't matter where I go in the flat, whether I shut the door or not, whether I leave the flat or not. This mimic can be anywhere, right? So the one thing I've always asked is like, what are they? What the fudge are they, right? And I've had many experiences with a mimic, but never like that.
So first and foremost, skip this one if it's nighttime. I feel like I say that a lot, but I have never meant it more than I do during this video, okay? This is a lot. It's scary. I don't know if it's real or not, but regardless, it is horrific. Today we're going to talk about something that a creator on here experienced and caught on camera. So let me tell you a little bit of the backstory before we get into it. They said they had been home alone for around 4 hours when they heard what sounded like their mom calling to them from the other side of their bedroom door. They said while it sounded like their mom did not talk to them the way that this thing was talking. So it was kind of strange. So after this happened, they got it on camera and they called the neighbor for help. And before that neighbor could even come over for help, they call another occurrence on camera that is so much worse than the first. A lot of people in the comments were saying that it's a mimic, you know, don't respond, it's a mimic. I personally don't think it's a mimic. I don't really know why. I just don't feel like it's a mimic. I feel like it's a really negative entity, but I don't think it's a mimic. But let me show you clip number 1 and then clip number 2. Y'all, the sound in the second one, I think I watched that at like 6 p.m. yesterday. No. Oh my god, I can't. Apparently, they posted an update video and said that it hadn't come back, so hopefully it's fine, everything's like good. But the sound, if this isn't real, whoever made that sound needs to be on a Hollywood set right now in a scary movie, because ugh.
Hey guys, welcome back to All Things Jenny. I'm Jenny. I was really testing my gangster with this one last video with the mimic and the mom being behind the door and them telling you not to watch it at nighttime. And I was literally watching it exactly at 10:58 p.m. But I make a lot of very, very, very scary stories, videos. So to me, it doesn't really bother me until I heard the voice in the back, like behind the door. I was like, first of all, just like the young lady says, if it, I can even talk. Because I scared the crap out of myself because that was weird. That was so creepy and weird. I have never seen one as good as that one, excuse me. I have never seen one as good as this one. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to sleep tonight. I'm probably going to start watching some cartoons right now because it's damn near 11 p.m. And that was so creepy. Because earlier I was watching this A Hunting TV show, and yeah, no, I really scared myself with this episode of The Hunting that I was watching. And normally I don't get scared like that. And I'm cleaning around the house, fixing things out of boxes because you guys know I just moved. So I'm listening to it in the background, and it's in the living room, and I'm in the bedroom. And this episode was called The Secret Room. And I did not realize that the little ghost girl name was her name was also Jenny, and my name is Jenny, All Things Jenny, it's my channel. So anyways, when the mother started calling her stepdaughter's name, which is also Jenny, she starts saying Jenny, I'm like in the bedroom cleaning things, and the thing is playing in the background because I need something to distract me, right? So I'm hearing my name and there was nobody at the house. I came out and my heart sank because the first thing I saw was like a ghost-like face on the TV screen, and it doesn't show the mom calling the daughter, but that was the last thing I heard until I walk outside to hear, because I'm like, there's nobody in the house, it's just me and the dog. The dog clearly does not talk. I keep hitting this damn microphone. But anyways, so when I walked, it was like a demon face on the TV screen. You know how like they cut, you know how that TV show is real dramatic. Have you guys seen it? It's called A Hunting. And it was on YouTube because I was watching YouTube and I'm just letting videos play. Normally I'll let my videos play on a loop. Don't come for me, okay? It's my video, my house, whatever. But I let my videos play on a loop, but I guess some other video just popped up out of nowhere, and then it started telling the story about the little girl and, the secret room. And the lady started calling her daughter's name Jenny, because I think they were playing hide and seek or whatever. But when I walked out, there was no lady on the screen. It was a demon face, so that freaked me out. But then after they cut out from commercial, they came back. So after, they cut from the scene of the lady calling Jenny, and of course I didn't walk out in time to see her calling her name, and I'm hearing somebody calling my name in a feminine woman voice, calling out to, looking for the daughter, basically like they're playing hide and seek, because I saw the next scene after they cut to commercial. That show is so dramatic, they literally will, the people are not even the real people that it happened to, obviously, and the ones that they have is just very dramatic, the actors. But when it cut back to the commercial, from the commercial, then that's when the lady's calling her again one more time, and I swear, like, for a second my heart dropped because I thought like there was something in the house, because it's a brand new house, I haven't done my cleansing yet, so I'm like, oh Lord, we done move into a haunted house again. So but I went, when the show came back and I saw the lady calling the girl, I was like, oh, it's such a relief, because I'm
This is an update on having a mimic in my house and how I dealt with it, and I am so sorry for the delay. Life has been a lot lately. I want to answer some questions that people had, especially what is a mimic and how did I personally get rid of it? I'm still not completely sure how it got into my house because, like I said, I have protections and wards all around my property and my home, so it had to have been some sneaky son of a bitch to get through. A mimic is a negative entity that will feed off of your fear and your anxiety, so the more emotion and attention you give it, the stronger it gets. It can mimic either your physical appearance or your voice to your loved ones, trying to coax your loved ones towards them, and sometimes, like in my case, it can mimic you to yourself. While nobody is an expert on the paranormal nor mimics, what I have learned doing my own research on this is that the main goal of a mimic is to make you scared so that it can feed off of that energy. The more it provokes negative feelings from you and more emotions, the stronger it will get. If you've been on this app for any amount of time, you've probably seen videos where people say, if you heard it, no you didn't. If you saw it, no you didn't. That is because the more energy that you give entities like this, the stronger they will become. The difference between those videos and what happened to me is usually people will see mimics or anything like that out in the wild, away from their home. I saw it inside my house. Like I said, I have protections and wards in place, so things like this do not happen. So the fact that I was hearing a voice in my house while I was sleeping in the middle of the night was pretty scary, and my first thought was that I had an intruder. This brings me to how I personally got rid of this thing that was in my house. I laughed at it. A lot. It's going to sound silly to some people, but I refused to take it seriously, and when I heard that voice again, mimicking me, I laughed and I said, "You suck at your job," or something flippant like that, and just went back to what I was doing, and it kept trying to get my attention to provoke me, and I ignored it. Once it realized that it was not getting a reaction out of me, the activity did amplify, with it trying more things like banging shit around in my kitchen late at night, screaming in my voice, things like that. But I still would just laugh, roll over in bed if I was in bed, or just laugh and like continue doing what I was doing and not giving it attention. Once this went on for a few days, by like day 3 or 4, I did a thorough cleansing of my home with cedar and juniper herb bundles. A lot of people were recommending that I cleanse my house with white sage. I personally don't believe in doing that under any circumstances. White sage is very over-harvested, and I do not trust Becky from Ohio selling it on Etsy to harvest it respectfully. Unless a Native American person or shop is selling it, and I know for a fact that they harvested it with respect to the plant and the land, and they did so sustainably, I'm not touching that. While you're here, this is one of the families that Operation Olive Branch is trying to help. This is Mohammed and his family. His wife is about to give birth and needs to have a C-section because she has a fractured pelvis. They are so close to their goal, and there are so many other families just like them that need help right now that you can find on Operation Olive Branch's website. If you go to my page, you can find the link to Operation Olive Branch and see all of these families, and if you feel called to donate, you can. This is more about Mohammed's family. You can pause to read it if you would like to. I've expressed on this account before that every time I try to talk about what is going on, TikTok will not push the video out, so from now on, at the end of every video, you will see something like this where I will show you a family that is in need, and if you want to donate to them, you can. If you see this as an issue or you don't like this, you can unfollow me.